4 co-owners disappear on MH370 flight. Put the brakes on here right now. Okay, listen. This estate planning has got to have another look at this, because Rothschild was in business with these 4 other guys, okay? Now, if they simply set it up per capita, which means they listed all 5 of them, because obviously Rothschild was one of the 5, the 4 died, leaving it all to him. So what happened was these 4 guys had simply their names listed as the beneficiaries of this invention that they had the patent. Now, instead of setting it up per Stirpes would mean that if one of the inventors died, then that inventor's share would go to that inventor's family. Wouldn't that make sense? So per capita means if that person dies, that person's share then lapses to the remaining surviving beneficiaries. Well, unfortunately, or fortunately for Rothschild or whatever, all 4 of them died, leaving all the interest to him. However, what I'm trying to impress upon you guys is the last time that you've checked your beneficiary designation forms has more than likely been years. I suggest what you do is go back and check out who the primary beneficiary is and who the contingent beneficiaries are, and find out whether or not they are per capita or per Stirpes. If nothing is listed next to the contingent beneficiaries' names, it's assumed to be per capita, which means that if one of the beneficiaries predeceased you, then that person's share will lapse to the others. The problem is if that particular person has children, meaning you have grandchildren by that child you accidentally disinherited, I can tell you unequivocally, folks, the children that have just lost a parent are in more need of love and financial support than those children that still have parents and financial capability. Wouldn't you agree with that? So what we're talking about here right now are the different types of beneficiary designations using this slide here from Rothschild. Let's go back and show it to them one more time. So Rothschild was the sole survivor of these 5 people that invented the patent. Okay, so all 4 of them of the 5, of course, Rothschild wasn't on the flight. So those 4 all died on that flight. Now the way they set it up, in order for Rothschild to inherit their interest, it had to simply be set up per capita, meaning they simply listed their names. Had they listed instead the per Stirpes next to each person's name, you wouldn't have listed at what age they would have inherited or whatever, but it goes to the next living person's beneficiaries. So in the event that the husband was married, it would go to the wife first. Now that creates another problem. Does it go to the wife first and then the children, or is it split evenly? Per Stirpes has different interpretations in different states. Folks, the estate planning stuff can be tricky, and I guarantee you, if you get a TED Ed starter kit, you're going to find the value very quickly, especially since all the TED Ed kits include a roll of dimes. So please come out of pocket now. If you want some help with your estate planning, I'll give you a hand with that. We are going to have, and we do have a list of who've all purchased a TED Ed starter pack. So if you have questions on your estate plan, we're going to check it first to see whether or not you're one of us. So if you want to participate in the TED Ed starter pack, get your starter pack today. I'll answer any questions you have for as long as you need, because I have a 27 years experience. But you got to show me some love too. It's not as though we're making any money off of this. We want you to get wealthy. You're going to get wealthy, but hoodling the daylights out of the dimes. That's the reason why we have this theme song, Dirty Silver Dimes, coming up real quickly. MH370 disappears. Malaysia Airlines flight MH370 with 239 people on board loses contact and disappears, prompting the most expensive search effort in history and one of the most enduring aviation mysteries. 239 people on board. Think of this for a minute. How many people on board had their beneficiary designation set up properly? How many of these estates that are now created were held by the person either intestate, meaning they didn't set up a will, or held in beneficiary designation, being through the will? If you're leaving your assets to somebody through a will, the probate process takes place, because someone has to oversee the process of you as a dead person that left the assets in your own name and died with them. That's real not too smart, because then you're leaving it up to the courts to change title to the person you wanted to leave it to. If you change title now while you're alive and competent into something called a revocable living trust, then the trust will spring into effect when it's needed. Like when you've been unavailable through, maybe you had a heart attack or a stroke, you're incompetent for a while, or maybe you're outside the U.S., or maybe you are you've been abducted or something. My mom said, "Hey, Teddy, if I'm ever abducted and I'm over in India or whatever, and they offer you 3 cows and a pig, take the deal." I said, "No, Mom." Mom was a world traveler. She brought us back a llama from Peru, wasn't it?
I believe it was.
Yeah,
yes.
The thing is big. I don't know how she got it through, but anyway, she did. A little bit about us. We talked about per capita versus per Stirpes. The problem with per Stirpes It's certainly better than per capita. At least the money stays in that lineage. But the problem with per Stirpes is the age of majority is now 18. It used to be 21. How many people think they moved that in the wrong direction? I do. So per Stirpes is simply a way to keep it in the family. But the line is you're allowing your beneficiaries at age 18 to get the whole enchilada. Besides, wouldn't it make a whole lot more sense if the assets were left in a trust for your beneficiaries for the benefit of the beneficiaries? Obviously, that's the name of the thing, right? So that in the event that this happens, all three children can be educated and maintained off the whole corpus, the whole pile of money. If you leave it that the eldest child gets their third and takes off, if the three children they're all due to inherit, then the other two remaining children then are left to be educated only 2/3 of the pie, where the eldest child got to be educated and taken care of off the whole enchilada, the whole pie. So what I suggest we do, we have to make it till the youngest person reaches age 25 or whatever it is you stipulate. I'm only going to put out ideas to you. This is the whole idea of getting the TED started. You can reach out to me, 443-340-8438. Also, if any of you guys have your retirement funds in somebody else's vault, reach out to me. Let's take a look at the beneficiary designations on that. I might be able to help you. Again, the cell phone number, 443-340-8438. People on the right-hand side, do I return phone calls? Am I really interested in estate planning? Is it a passion that I have? You're daggone right. We're going to be changing lives, and we're doing it right now. Kobe Steel admits data fraud went on nearly 5 decades. See, 50 years? Gosh, that's a long time. Trump plans to bring back firing squads, group executions if he retakes the White House. That's from, of course, 2023. He did retake the White House. So I guess the former president wants to expand the use of death penalty and expand the federal government's options for carrying out death sentences. Well, friends, you're not going to believe this one. Here we are at our post office. Somebody sent us something from Canada that needed to be picked up. And here we are. It's currently, what? It's 5 after 12. Yeah. And they're supposed to be open until 12:45. The post office is closed. Nobody showed up for work today. Hear the thing ringing back here? I went to go in, and the guy says, "Oh, don't go in. They're closed." I said, "What do you mean they're closed?" He said, "Nobody showed up." Nobody showed up for work? That's a first. Wonder what's happening here. Margaret Ann, do you think this is the beginning?
I don't know, but we can't get our package.
That was something nice that was sent to our home by certified mail. This is our first opportunity. We had to get out and get it. Oh, my gosh. All right, well, this is what's going on, folks. This is our government hard at work here. I think we stop paying taxes right now. And lawyers from Alberta, Canada are looking to go to the United States to try to join the United States and become the 51st state. There's a typo in this, but listen to what he has to say.
There's a group of Albertans that are working together right now to put together a delegation to go to Washington to talk to the Trump administration about Alberta petitioning for U.S. statehood. It's quite evident that we're being governed by idiots in Ottawa who don't understand that we can't afford a trade war with our largest trading partner. And rather than simply apologizing to President Trump for not meeting our NATO commitments and not adequately securing our border, apparently the Trudeau government has decided to declare a trade war and run up trillions of dollars in costs like they did during COVID on a made-up emergency. So there's a number of us in Alberta that have had enough and want to go speak with the Trump administration about the benefits of Alberta joining the United States.
3.4 billion. Wow. $3.4 trillion market meltdown triggers economic alerts from JP Morgan Chase, Morgan Stanley, and Goldman Sachs as U.S. banks abruptly change outlook. Folks, the dollar is not where you want to be right now. Take a look at this next slide. These are remittances that typically are made to the Treasury, and there's nothing to remit, which means there's no money being made. The whole thing's being shut down. Remember what I told you. The Bank for International Settlements, which owns all the banks on the face of the planet with one or two country exceptions like North Korea, the Bank for International Settlements owns all the banks around the world. They own the Federal Reserve banking system here in the United States, which is not federal. They don't have reserves. It was simply created on December 23rd, 1913, in the middle of the night when they didn't have airplanes to get everybody back home. So that we talked about this, they needed a quorum, I think 35, 38 states represented. Well, these people from Washington State, California, in Montana, Nebraska, you think they had airplanes to get everybody home on the day before Christmas Eve? Was the quorum there? Was the thing legal? No, we learned that it wasn't. We had a top secret report we read to you guys yesterday, remember? So these are the Treasury remittances, and it doesn't look like it's looking real good. And this is from the Federal Reserve. These are liabilities and capital liabilities, earnings, remittances due to the United States Treasury as of Wednesday. Isn't this interesting? Next slide we have here. This is very interesting. Look how interesting and how logical this calendar is laid out. All the Sundays wind up on 7/14, 11/21, 28. Look at this. This certainly makes a lot more sense for our calendar than what we're currently using, doesn't it? Monday is the first day of each year and each month. Saturday is the last day of each month. Leap days work according to the Gregorian calendar. The leap day is added as the 29th of June. One day left over as New Year's Day, which does not belong to any month and acts as a Sunday. Looks like we might be changing our calendar over. So currently we're on what's called the Gregorian calendar. We came off of that. We're on that from the Julian calendar. And so what calendar are we going to go back to? Many are thinking it's going to go back to the Julian calendar. You tell me.